lost a breath of mine now, frozen in the blazes of another time now. Do you remember me? Continue gravity of another kind now. Somewhere in the future, there's a breath of mine now. Do you remember me? Continue gravity of another kind now. Do you remember me? Continue gravity Thank you.
Taught him everything he knows. Did you really? No, I really didn't. But the funny thing about my own personal universe is that I can bend and manipulate any information that I want. He's one of my favorite musicians currently. But next up, we have somebody who's very important. I would go to say that very important to all the students in Wright College and all the people who form clubs and just everyone in general. Without her, I would not be here. And this is real. I really wouldn't be here. She's the person who first contacted me to start working on slam poetry and poetry slam. Without her, the rap battles that we have every Thursday wouldn't be a thing because I didn't know how to form this whole group thing by myself. She's just so important. And I realized this when I was sitting in the SGA award meeting, banquet. They asked me if I can go up and accept awards for this one person. And then I said I was already accepting awards for somebody else and myself. And they told me that if I went and did this one, I'd probably be up there all day. Because she's that important and she would have been on stage that many times. Please help me to welcome somebody who Wright College just loves. Give it up for Trudy.
Thank you, Jesus. Actually, you are awesome. I saw you at open mic and I said, oh my gosh, problem solved. Okay, so my song is Space of the Heart. it's heartstrings. You pull my strings, or I pull your strings. Karma gone world apart. Why think of yesterday? Still thinking of you, my foolish human heart. Your heart has no more me. Why linger in my way? Today I said I'll forget you. Tomorrow I think of you. You're in my dreams as I doze. The mortal feels, the soul only knows. You pull my strings, or I pull your strings. Karma gone world apart. Hearts and hands work that way. Still thinking of you, my foolish human heart. Your heart has no more me. A heart but made of clay. I also want to take this moment to thank Professor Richard Gersten. He is so important to me. I would not be standing here and singing in front of you if it weren't for him. He is a wonderful teacher, and if anybody wants to learn how to sing, please take his class. And if you don't know how to go about it, just see me. Thank you.
Next up, we're going to keep the show going. This next young gentleman, I met him at the Poetry Slam, and then again at the Rap Battles, but I've never met him under his government name. So this is news to me. One of my favorite things to do in art is let the universe just take you wherever the universe is going to take you at that moment. And we call that freestyle. So ladies and gentlemen, present to you freestyle performance, Space and Abandonment. Everyone give a big round of applause to one of my friends, Edwin Salgado.
Thank you, L3. Well, like you mentioned, this is just going to be a quick freestyle about the universe and abandonment. So, peace. As a kid, I never knew that my imagination would take me so far. I looked up at the stars and recognized my heart. I realized then that my life was more than just an eye or two to go in between everything that we go through. So I started to walk and point out all the facts that I knew would attract anything that I would view. I always knew that I would just live life by and by until one day I would die, end up in the solars and end up where my heart will own up to. But then again, everyone would always redirect me towards a better path where I didn't even understand. So from there on, I just lingered on to the wrong tune in which I knew was never going to be mine, as the universe gave me the words so I can let it out of my head without even trying to wait for an instant, a second for that. But I guess I always went in with the intention to figure out what was life about, because no one ever told me the answer to that unless I looked up into the stars again. Then I knew I was at home. My soul descended off into where I knew it would roam no matter what. Every night I seem to realize that this is a constant battle that we all have to fight. So no matter what, we can't turn our back to those who give us love, and above all, the possessions to continue on and never lack. So with grace and with comfort, I move along. And so I stay without any hunger. The love and hatred go two and two, hand in hand, but we can't withstand those hardships alone, so we join hands. Again, there's not enough space and time in between us to know that we are fine. Just as we continue, we grow just as strong as we weaken. But at the same time, our traits also radiate what we have yet to compensate for the things that we have done in our past mistakes. But the future endeavors are always going to be the levers to hold us up and gravitate us towards what we have. And then again, I never understood math.
Everyone give a big round of applause. Big round of applause. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when we speak about space and the universe, we think about two things really. The first is we think about space, this very empty thing that we don't know very much about. And because we don't know very much about it, we just assume that we're the only thing out there. So we have this empty feeling that space can create. And then on the other hand, we have the universe, which is like endless possibilities of creation. Again, as a slam poet, as a spoken word artist, and just as a general artist, I like to create this whole vibe that the universe puts out. And one of the things that I remember hearing the universe put out a couple years ago are a lot of pieces about fathers who aren't there. The absence of a father. Kind of like a black hole, if you will. And then I read up, and statistics say that fatherless children are twice as likely to drop out of school and fail, and 3 times more likely to end up in prison. And I thought to myself, these figures are just kind of weird, you know, it's all too real. It's a very important subject to know where your father is. And then something happened in my life that caused me to create a poem about perspective. The universe told me to do it, and I did it. So, for your enjoyment, I present to you a poem entitled Repaid. This is dedicated to C3, my nephew, and TJ. I told your mother I finally got my paycheck. I'm REPAID'd for all my hard work. Paid. She told me spell it backwards now. DIAPER spells diaper, and that's what my son needs. Was I head back towards the store. I figured if I pay her fees, she let me see you. I see. You're 3 months and she'll let me hold you once, so I hope once I made a demand, she'll let me hold you one hand like my father helped me. And tell me like I tell your mom to tell you every day. Daddy loves you. But you probably don't know I exist because the closest your mom lets me get to you is a picture, and until now I can never picture how a woman can let a child see his father's money but not his face. Or how a man can spend every last of his hard-earned dimes on a child he can't spend time with like he wants to. And I want you to know, Daddy didn't walk out. See, me and Mommy just had this agreement. See, I didn't agree with Mommy claiming you belonged to her. Because it took 2 to conceive you, so you're respectfully much a part of me as you are a part of her. I'm not trying to rag on your mom for trying to be a single parent, but if she lets me have half the responsibilities, it won't be twice as hard for her. And I'm just saying, it's not like we never loved each other, but instead of viewing me as a partner to help raise you, she said she saw me as more of a sperm donor, so she said she's going to raise you as a single mother instead of with me as a father. I guess she's going to teach you how to play sports too, because it's impossible for me to raise a picture to be an athlete. Your mother said I'm not your father, yet she still named you after me, and that's not the only trait you have from me. If we saw each other like a family, you realize you look a lot like me. Because when I look at your picture, it seems as if you're looking back at me with the same, where are you facial expressions? And it gives me the steady depression when I look at my reflection and it turns into a portrait of my firstborn. Your mother says, a picture's worth 1,000 words, but I won't be there to hear your first one, and you're my first son, so I question, how is your mom going to raise you to be a man when she's not one? And I'm not one to just sit on the sidelines and watch the future of my family grow up without knowing where his name came from. Your family trees didn't spring up overnight. And I heard they call you L4. So I can't wait for you to learn how to count to find out L3 came right before you. Truth of the matter is, I can't get any madder at your mother for letting me feel your first kicks. But now allow me to watch your first steps. But it's probably the first step in the right direction. Writing you a poem because at least I'm trying. I'm forced to write because when your mom took you away, I had nothing left. My dreams of raising a family left with her. Son, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to tell you that I'm the perfect father. I just want you to know you have one. Thank you. Again, thank you very much. Being a poet and being the master of the universe, which is what I like to call any type of person who comes on the stage and is allotted time to serve a purpose or serve a specific message. I like to call them the masters of their universe. And being one has been great for me. I've been able to express so many stories that I think the world needs to hear. And I get to meet new people and hear great songs. So, before we welcome our next guy, before I introduce him, because the stage is always welcoming here, I would like to read from his next song entitled Houston. Time will tell.